Hello, everyone. This is Robert Landau, Live Life Well TV host, and we're back with another episode of a trivia program here on Live Life Well TV that we call Did You Know? Lots of fun, lots of new facts and figures that you might not have known before. So, with all of that in mind, stay tuned. All right, let's begin. Are you ready? I am, so let's go. Did you know that a reservoir in space holds 140 trillion times the amount of water that happens to be in Earth's oceans? NASA has found some pretty incredible things in space, and that includes a floating reservoir of water that holds the equivalent of 140 trillion times all the water that's in the Earth's oceans. What makes it even more amazing is the fact that the reservoir surrounds a giant black hole, more than 12 billion light years away from Earth. And I want to say that again. I mean, imagine this, picture this, 12 billion light years away from Earth. The reservoir is more proof that water is pervasive throughout the universe. And a guy that believes that and has researched that and says that is named Matt Bradford. He happens to be a scientist at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena, California. Did you know that the word muscle comes from a Latin term meaning little mouse? Bet you didn't know that. I sure didn't. Bend your arm at the elbow and flex. What do you see when you look at your bicep? The ancient Romans apparently saw the resemblance of a tiny rodent, which is why it's called a muscle, a word that is derived from the Latin term musculus, meaning little mouse, according to Merriam-Webster. Did you know that Tic Tac mints are named after the sound that the container makes? That's amazing. Tic Tac mints are called that because of the sound that the container makes. In 1970, Ferrero was looking to replace refreshing mints as the name of its now iconic Minnie Mouth fresheners. Instead of going with a similarly straightforward approach, the brand says the name we all know now was inspired by the tick and the tack sounds heard when you open and close a little plastic container that the mints come in. So go figure, go figure. Did you know that Dr. Seuss wrote Green Eggs and Ham as part of a bet? The Cat in the Hat was published in 1957 and used a mere 236 words to tell the quirky feline's fantastical story. However, the book's author, the one and only Dr. Seuss, topped that feat with even fewer words when his publisher, Bennett Cerf, bet him that he couldn't write a book using just 50 words or less. Green Eggs and Ham hit the bookstores 3 years later and uses exactly 50 words. So guess who won the bet? There you go. Did you know that peanuts can be used to make dynamite? Oh yeah, peanuts can be used to make dynamite. Obviously, peanuts happen to be a tasty snack. Do you like peanuts? I do. I could have them any day, any hour of the day, morning, noon, night, whatever. But as long as you're not allergic to them, of course, they are a great snack. But did you know that they can also be used to make dynamite? When extracted, peanut oil can be turned into glycerol, which can then make nitroglycerin, an unstable explosive substance used in dynamite. In a safer state, glycerol is also used for soaps, creams, and various food products. Did you know that the largest volcano in the solar system is 3 times taller than Mount Everest? Picture that. The largest volcano in the solar system is 3 times taller than Mount Everest. Mount Everest, of course, happens to be the tallest mountain on Earth, reaching 5.5 miles into the sky. I just have never understood people who climb Mount Everest and make it to the top, and I guess some don't make it to the top. However, you need to stack no less than 3 Everests on top of each other in order to create something as massive as Mars's Olympus Mons, M-O-N-S, the largest volcano in the solar system. I didn't even know there were volcanoes in the solar system. Did you? The enormous volcano is 16 miles tall. Picture that. 16 miles tall and stretches 374 miles wide. Picture that. Approximately the same size as the entire state of Arizona. And that fact and figure is according to NASA. Did you know an 11-year-old is responsible for naming Pluto? In 1930, the Royal Astronomical Society, the RAS, was struggling to come up with a name for a newly discovered planet. They considered names such as Minerva, Zeus, Atlas, and Persephone, but it was actually an 11-year-old by the name of Venetia Burney Fair who suggested the name Pluto, inspired by the god, of course, of the underworld. When the idea eventually reached the RAS with the help of the Girls Connected family, her librarian grandfather knew many astronomers. They absolutely loved the name the moment they heard it and ultimately decided, obviously, to use the suggestion. Did you know people write love letters to trees in Australia via email? I'm going to say that again. That's amazing. I didn't know that, did you? Did you know that people write love letters to trees in Australia using email? The city of Melbourne in Australia wants to take care of its trees, so much so that in 2013 they assigned each one an email address so the public could report any problems like dangerous branches, anything that they happen to notice. However, instead of sending email messages about issues such as that, people began writing love letters to trees. "My dearest Ulmus," one note began, according to The Atlantic, "as I was leaving St. Mary's College today, I was struck not by a branch, but by your radiant beauty. You must get these messages all the time, I'm sure. You are such an attractive tree." Actual words from an actual email love letter to just one tree in Melbourne, Australia. I love it. I love it. Did you know, folks, there is a Russian village where every resident happens to be a tightrope walker? Oh yeah, that's true. Traversing a high wire may seem like a relatively uncommon ability. However, there's one Russian community where it's a perfectly normal thing to be able to do that sort of thing. In a place called Sokra, a small secluded village in the Southern Republic of Dagestan, everyone who's physically able can walk on a tightrope in a tradition that's existed there for more than 100 years. It's even taught in school to the village children. Even though only 400 people still live in the region, at least 17 tightrope walkers from that area have found fame in circuses due to their impressive radial abilities. Wow. Wow. I don't think I could tightrope walk because I'm not fond of heights. So I'm very glad that I was not born in that village. How about you? Did you know that Domino's Pizza in Japan, trained reindeer to deliver pizza? I mean, this stuff is so unbelievable. I gotta say it again. Domino's Japan trained reindeer to deliver pizza. So I want you to picture that. Back in 2016, Domino's Japan wanted reindeer to do a little more than just pull Santa's sleigh. They wanted the animals to deliver pizzas to hungry customers. The company released a video of employees tying pizzas to the animals' backs and said customers would be able to track their pies via GPS. Wow. Leave it to Japan. Did you know that the world record for the tallest stack of donuts totaled more than 3,000? So really, we're using a lot of imagination today. Picture 3,000 stacked donuts. Measuring almost 5 feet tall, the pyramid-shaped tower was made up of 3,100 donuts. According to the Guinness Book of World Records, the structure was designed on a number of different software products to ensure its structural integrity. The organizers behind the project enlisted the help of a structural engineer and an architect who eventually concluded that a pyramid shape would give them the best combination of donut stability and height. There you go. Did you know that Benjamin Franklin was inducted into the International Swimming Hall of Fame? Oh yeah, I'm telling you, he was. Benjamin Franklin wasn't only a skilled writer, politician, scientist, I mean, really, the list goes on and on with this guy. He was also an avid swimmer, loved to swim. Franklin began swimming as a child in Boston, which led to one of his first inventions, oval pallets worn on the hands so he could swim faster. His enthusiasm for the sport continued throughout his life and was so well documented that he was eventually given an honorary induction into the International Swimming Hall of Fame. Better him than me. Did you know that only 2 national flags happen to have the color purple in them? Those 2 countries, in case you're curious, happen to be Dominica, which uses purple in its flag's central image of a Cicero parrot, and Nicaragua, which includes a purple stripe and a rainbow that's featured on the national coat of arms at the center of that flag. Did you know, and I do know this and have seen it many times, many of you have too, that dogs know when someone isn't trustworthy? They sure do. You may be able to tell when your furry BFF is thrilled to see you, but your dog probably knows even more about you and other people than you do about them. So, ha ha ha. Not only do dogs have innate instincts to protect their humans, but a 2015 study published in the journal Animal Cognition suggests that pups can even tell if a person is untrustworthy based on that person's behavior. I so believe that. Dogs, cats, most animals are incredibly sensory and feeling beings. Humans don't often realize that because we're so involved in ourselves that we don't look outside of ourselves to see how incredible other beings truly are. Next up is this. Did you know that more than 800 languages are spoken in Papua New Guinea? When I was cruise director for all those years, I had the great fortune to visit Papua New Guinea more than once, and I can attest to that. It's hard to imagine anyone being able to speak or even understand all of the 850 plus indigenous languages that are spoken in Papua New Guinea. And in reality, most people don't. Many of the languages in that country, such as Nihali, are only spoken and understood by a few thousand people in the world. Still, the sheer number of languages that happen to exist in Papua New Guinea make it one of the most amazing and diverse countries in the world. So now, are you ready for a very special announcement? Because I have one for you, and some of you might be relieved to hear it. We only have 2 more Did You Knows left before we close this episode. This is the second to last. Did you know that the majority of polar bears live in Canada, not in the Arctic? There are an estimated 22,000 to 31,000 polar bears around the world, according to the World Wildlife Fund. And while you can find these beasts in a range of regions in the Arctic Circle, including Greenland, Norway, Russia, and Alaska, the majority of polar bears, just about all of them, around 60 to 80% of them, happen to call Canada their home. Last, did you know, is the following. Did you know that the first breakfast cereal had to be soaked overnight before it could be eaten? Ugh. It's probably safe to assume that when you reach for your favorite cereal in the morning, you can simply pour some in a bowl and have the pleasure of starting to eat it. But in order to consume the first manufactured breakfast cereal, which was created way back in 1863, you had to soak it in milk overnight just to make it edible. The cereal was made of graham flour and had been baked into brittle cakes, then crumbled up and baked again. Not surprisingly, it really was not too popular at the start, not a big success, but according to the New York Times Magazine, people eventually got used to it. So, got a question for you before we close. Did you have a good time? I hope so. I did. And I just want to mention that all of the facts I shared with you on this episode of Did You Know come from a website called Best Life Online. So I want to thank them for this episode, really, of Did You Know? Thanks for watching, everybody. This has been Robert Landau, Live Life Well TV host. I look forward to seeing you on the next episodes. And if you haven't seen past episodes of Did You Know? My God, what are you waiting for? Do it now. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you soon. God bless.